Hey guys, this is now apology video number 13. No matter what I do, I can't say it right. The fact that I have now made it more difficult for people to be believed when they come forward is devastating to me. That was the last thing that I wanted. The last thing I would ever want, because I didn't give anybody trigger warnings. It meant that every single survivor who happened to click on that video was forced to relive their trauma completely without warning. So this entire video was shot and edited before Daniel's new one. He is still trying to shut me up. Daniel is still desperately trying to silence me by smearing me before I even post another video. Are you admitting to falsely accusing him of? No! I never said Daniel Green raped. What I said was that he pressured me into things. Daniel created the perfect situation in which he could take advantage of me.
I love beating a dead horse. It's actually insane the direction this story has taken. When Naomi initially made her first video, it caused this earthquake in the community where a bunch of people flocked to her side. But then slowly but surely, people started realizing how these allegations may just be a mask for a crazy, upset, ex-side piece. And that was only solidified more when Daniel came out with his response and Naomi deleted 2 videos about the allegations. Was it herself? Was it a lawyer? I have no idea. However, that doesn't matter because now we have a part 3 to the saga, which is really bizarre. Now, I didn't get time to cover this, but it turns out that Naomi made an apology video 5 days ago, which apologized to sexual assault victims for making them look like liars because he was exposed to be one, and gave no mention to Daniel himself. I don't know why. Okay, jokes aside, she made that apology, took it down, but now it's sort of like reincarnated with this new hour-long video where essentially it's just the same, but she reinforced how she doesn't want to apologize to Daniel because she still thinks he forced her or pressured her into sex. Yeah, it's not good. Okay, so I'm gonna go over this video as well as some new parts because the rate that this new stuff is coming out is actually insane. I mean, me personally, I don't care because I'm invested in this, honestly. Okay, so here's the video itself. It's only 3 minutes long, and once again, she apologizes to nobody else but the sexual assault victims. I have no idea why.
And there is no way to get it right. I am so sorry to every survivor that I have hurt in doing this.
Hands together, I'm sorry, not to Daniel, but to sexual assault victims. And by the way, I watched all of this. She doesn't say a sorry to Daniel at all, not even once. If you really do feel sorry, you believe, you took the story way, way too far, and it's a figment of your imagination, then apologize to Daniel. That guy got fucked over so badly. As you can tell, I'm watching a re-upload right now, and then when she took down the video, she made this post on her Instagram saying, casual reminder that my apology video was not me admitting to falsely accusing Daniel Green. I stand by my statement that he pressured me into sexual things I didn't want. The apology videos was to sexual assault victims. I took it down because people were taking it as an admission to falsely accusing. I'll be explaining myself whether you like it or not, but it's taking time to put together. I am not resigning to that he did sexual things to me without my consent. That sounds bad. Okay, so you have that. The last thing I'll go over before I get into part 3 was this new video that Daniel Green made where in the man's defense, he did prove how she barely cares about this, just not giving a shit at all.
We have received information from someone in communication with Naomi King that they are not done. Not offline, not on YouTube, and not on their other social media platforms. In a means to preemptively deter Naomi King from causing more harm,
So I guess he has a friend that talks to Naomi, and they were saying, listen, your video was really bad. People are giving you shit because you're making survivors look like liars, just like yourself. And her response? Oops, sorry. And saying, what do you mean oops? Well, we'll see what happens. this is not the reaction of a person that cares about what happened. This is the reaction of a person that, you know, is so deluded about what happened that they're twisting it, and now they're realizing it, but they haven't come to terms with it. They're still living in the imagination. Also, what I want to say one more thing. One thing that I will concede to initially when I started covering the story was that in our conversation video, you realize one glaring flaw or two glaring flaws. Number one, her definition of assault was someone that, you know, led an idea that they wouldn't be together for a long time, then they fuck, and then she left him. That's it. So someone that just fucks her over for a one night stand, that counts as assault. Not physically, but emotionally, that was assault because she feels heartbroken. That's it. Yeah, very bizarre definition. And then furthermore, one thing I realized is that her story in that video of what happened in Vegas was completely different to what she claimed happened in part one. When that video, you know, she said it was assault because she was heartbroken by him. And then in part one, she claims that it was assault because he forced a blowjob onto her, he tongue fucked her, and, you know, he came on her twice. So you have, the issue is, you know, you have like a big part of the story being revealed now, a year later. So me personally, when I hear that, I get the image of a person that, you know, had an event, but then slowly over time, because they're fucking insane, the story in the mind gets retwisted in an awful way. So, you know, in layman's terms, they're unreliable. You can't trust them as a narrator. But unfortunately, here we are today, where this drama has gone very far. And it's funny as well, because I watched that video the first time when I made my video on the story, and that part just went over my head. So I apologize for that. It's so funny how that video is still up after the season this is, and people have watched that and the part one, and they don't see like how the story has jumped massively. Like a very small percentage of people still believe Naomi, but regardless, they still trust her after she changed the story so much. Okay, so now we're going from this 3-minute long video, just that, to an hour-long video. Well, like I said before, it's like a mix of an apology video to sexual assault victims, not Daniel, to now how she wants to, she wanted to fix, you know, like very minor details. That's it. The one part I feel valuable in this was the loop story. That was it. But if you could compact this video to much shorter, it could fit nicely to, like, you know, being like 20 minutes. But no, it's an hour long. And trust me, when you sit down like I did and watch the whole thing, it drives you to insanity. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm looking for the timestamps I have because I noted them down, and the first quarter is so funny. Like, let me go through it.
I did not come forward thinking he had nothing. I came forward knowing he had everything. So please think about it logically. It makes no sense for me to falsely accuse somebody who I know has everything. It makes no logical sense. Like, I did not mean for that video to be a rape accusation. I did not mean for that video to blow up and have people calling him a rapist and sending that video to the people he works with. I did not want any of that, and I did not think that any of that was going to happen. Genuinely.
Okay, I don't get this part. One recurring thing she repeats over and over in this video is that she had no intention for this to be a rape accusation. I have no idea what commentator, you know, no matter how bad they are, I have no idea who spun this as a rape story. It wasn't. Every person, including myself, believes it should be like a sexual assault allegation. Like, we described it simply as that, nothing more. So she apologized for painting him as a rapist, but she didn't. She painted him as a sexual assaulter. Still pretty bad, so she will concede to that, but not, you know, this part of, you know, making him seem like a sexual assaulter. For this entire video, she never concedes to that. And to me, that's an issue, because you can say sorry very easily for him, you know, being painted as a rapist. You know, like, you never claimed that. But you did claim, you know, he committed sexual assault.
But I understand that that's what was taken away from the video. And I understand that because I didn't give any fucking trigger warnings, which is stupid because I always do that. Because I didn't give anybody trigger warnings, it meant that every single survivor who happened to click on that video was forced to relive their trauma.
Okay, so she's not sorry for ruining Daniel's career. No, she's sorry for sexual assault victims and for not including trigger warnings. That's it. This is insanity, I'm sorry, but like, there's so much worse to that video. You had a sexual affair with Daniel, and now, fast forward to present, your brain, I have no idea why, be it because of mental illness or weed, you spun that story in your mind as, you being sexually assaulted, and you drove that narrative home with your own videos. And now, she's not saying sorry for that, but she's saying sorry for not having a trigger warning. I'm gonna be reserved to what I say about her, but just know, in my mind, she's actually insane. I will say, however, there was one good point around 6 minutes in where she apologizes for making the video at her emotional state. That's a good point. You should make a video when you're feeling neutral, not coming, emotionally compromised. But I was immediately undone by this awful segment right here.
It doesn't matter what history you have with somebody. In the moment, if there is no consent, there is no consent. If it is not an enthusiastic yes, it is a no.
Dude, I'm sorry, but after hearing that part, you deserve to be sued into poverty. What do you mean, it's only consent if you're, enthusiastic? Hell yeah! I'm so if you watch her video and you have an actual proper timeline of what happened and how close they were, clearly you can tell this is someone that wanted to fuck Daniel. She might have given a boldy face, yes, straight to his face, on that night in the hotel, but she followed up after the second night and bear in mind she made songs on how much she loves him, and she brings up later how he had a DM where he told her he wants to go on a friend trip with her and spoil her. I'm sorry, but in my mind, I know full well that it was more than just a friendship. You were a sugar baby as well. You clearly want to get on with him, and now you're looking back and you're like, oh, I felt so awful. Actually, I think I was assaulted that night. Because again, you have to remember, there's two things. Number one, in the video she made in the conversation about manipulation consent, she never brought up how she was assaulted physically, just more so that she was assaulted emotionally, she was heartbroken. And also as well, you'll see later, in the video she made for Kayla saying sorry, she didn't say sorry because she was assaulted. She said sorry because she felt like she ruined Kayla for cheating with Daniel. That's it. So once again, this is a person that, had an event happen to them, and now fast forward to the present, they completely misinterpreted what happened and they believe in the worst case scenario, to maliciously slander this poor bastard, Daniel. And again, if you want more proof that this person shouldn't be trusted as a narrator, she literally went back in this video to rechange, how much edible she took. Once again, adding more details and rechanging them. How can we trust you?
So obviously now I'm just fucking up my own case because the bits between what he did are a blur. He swears that I looked sober. I don't know how that would have even been physically possible, considering I had been eating 40...
Maybe because he fucking looked at you in the eyes, I don't know.
I had been eating 40 milligrams every couple of hours the entire day.
Oh, okay, so it went from her taking edibles, maybe at night, that's it, to now getting fucked for the rest of the day. You're changing details, you're making, the story completely different at this point, going back and changing some parts. No, darling, nobody can trust you at this point. And also as well, I hate this part so much. She literally contests over the smallest details that overall don't change the story that much. Who gives a shit if you took 40 or 50 milligrams, you won't completely pitch blackout high or knocked out, you're fine. Why do you care about the small difference in the number?
The edibles that I bought upon arriving, they were 20 milligrams each. So I was taking 40 milligrams every couple of hours. I think my first dose was around, and then every 2 hours.
She couldn't even finish her own sentence. What the fuck? And then the next part I wrote down was around 18 minutes in. She actually rambles about her own ex fucking member on a sugar baby website. And I'm like, why do I give a shit about this fat bastard you were fucking before? She gets off the rails so goddamn much in his own video.
And I remember I kept trying to explain to him that I know other people don't see the situation as different, but I do. Because, Senor Married Man, he was a sugar daddy that paid to be on that website. It cost $100 if not.
I'm sorry, who? Senor Sugar Daddy. Why do I give a fuck about Senor Sugar Daddy? What are you on about?
More for a guy to be on that website. He's nearing 50. He was messaging multiple sugar babies. If it wasn't me, it was going to be somebody else.
Oh, wow.
Was
Really?
in a loveless marriage. His wife
Wow.
hadn't touched him in over a decade.
Wow.
He had been cheating for 15 years, and his first affair...
Oh my God, that sounds awful. Do you also want to accuse him of rape or sexual assault? Sorry, again, she never alleged him of being a rapist, but like, go back and watch like a re-upload of that first video. She was like making it like as clear as daylight that she was accusing him of sexual assault and nothing else. If it was a retard that spun the story as rape, yeah, bad on them. But you personally, you made it very clear that you were sexually assaulted. Okay, this next part might be long because I'm watching from 21 minutes to 24 minutes, so I want to see what part pissed me off so much. Oh yeah, she might give context right now. But the event right now, you know, that she's painting was the first time she was in the bed, and she leaned over and she was talking to Daniel, and she wanted to ask him a question, and he asked her, I believe, how much money it would take, you know, to get it on, and she gave him a number, and then, you know, he got on top of her, and her point of contention is that she didn't let him, you know, ask him a question. She's so upset about that part.
I put my arm between us to create a barrier. I told him I had questions to ask him. He threw a number at me. I said I could do that, expecting more of a conversation. And then he pushed me over and put his tongue in my mouth.
Okay, like if I'm really believing that correctly, that by the numbers she means, you know, money, and she gave him a fucking offer and he took it. I'm gonna believe, you know, like that was the way she spun it. Let's see, you know, what comparisons you could bring up, you know, to make the situation sound really bad.
Now I know to some people I could do that is verbal consent, but to me it isn't. To me it is not. Could is a maybe. Could as a possibly. Like, imagine if you were walking through the woods with a friend and you saw this cliff overlooking the water and you were like, you want to jump into the water? And if your friend was like, I mean, I could do that, would you push them off the cliff?
That's the worst If I was a diehard fan of Naomi King, God forbid, that I could not stand behind her, behind that point. That is nowhere similar. And again, you know, she had a decent point about that, you know, saying could isn't a definitive yes, but like once again, the pieces are so clear now. This was a consensual affair, you know, where she clearly wanted to be with him, and now she was heartbroken, and now fast forward, she misinterpreted the story to be like sexual assault, and now she keeps on pushing it non-stop. Even this video, you know, that was meant to fix this whole thing, she only made it worse. Why would you upload this? The next part that was funny was the loop section, and that part was the most damning section of Daniel's response, you know, against her, because it was so clear, you know, I mean, I believed him initially that she made him buy the loop, you know, for it, but it turns out there was some clarification about this, and I'll let her explain it.
I think it was after breakfast, on the way back to the hotel, because we did walk around a little bit. On the way back, I did look up somewhere to buy lube, because in my mind, I was kind of like, all right, well, fuck. He's already done to me once what I didn't want. Like, that night was non-consensual. And my trauma response, because unfortunately for me, my trauma responses are not fight or flight, but freeze and fawn, right? During the night, I froze. Trust me, I would.
I'm sorry, but like, you don't get to use the freeze or phone excuse. You did it multiple times with him on those 2 days. Like, you had ample time. Okay, I could forgive, you know, like the first event, like, you know, you were frozen up and you had no idea what to do. But the second day, if your response to a traumatic thing happened to you is to buy lube and carry on being with that guy, you can't blame anybody else. And once again, I don't feel bad for saying it that way, because I truly believe deep down she had no issue with it back then. But now, you know, in the present, she thinks it's deplorable and disgusting.
The following day, there was a part of me that did desperately want to reclaim what he had done. This has happened to me before, and I know
with language like that, reclaim. That's not the words of someone that, you know, got assaulted. That's words of someone that was pissed off, you know, that they got fucked, and they were like, I want to fuck you more, actually. She was not a victim, okay? I'm sorry.
But we did discuss the fact that nothing was going to happen, and that's why we didn't go get anything. I'm not denying.
So they agreed, basically that, she wanted to buy the lube for herself, but then they talked about it and they were like, okay, we're not gonna fuck anymore. I guess that's bad, they agreed before and then, Daniel went back on it, but like, you don't act like a victim. Like, you took the bait every single time you wanted to fuck and you did it with him. Because overall, she sounded more pissed off that she couldn't be sexually gratified herself more so than Daniel. And like, that sounds bad, but don't twist it as this story where you were sexually assaulted. Also, by the way, just to be clear, I added this loop section because initially my mind was like, oh, on the first day they were in Vegas, she made him buy a loop because she wanted to get it on. However, it's more clear now that she wanted to buy a loop on the second day, but she didn't because they talked it out. That's it. To make this story more clear, more reliable than what he's saying, I gotta make a clear timeline. That's it. But again, here's more language and wording that makes it sound like she wanted to have sex, but now she was more pissed off that she herself wasn't sexually gratified more than him.
And this played out in Vegas. The night he got there, he was pressuring me into things and I didn't want it. Pushed me over, shoved his tongue in my mouth. I repeatedly rejected his attempts for sex. I did not want that. The next morning, we agreed it wasn't gonna happen and it was fucking terrible and we were just friends. It was something I looked at. It was something I glanced at because I was trying to reclaim, but because he promised me it was never going to happen.
I'm sorry, but that just doesn't sound like someone that was unpleased, with being a friend. That was someone that, wanted to be more than a friend, reclaim what happened, Like, honestly, it sounded like she wanted you cowgirl, like, ride him, just saying. Like, that's the image I got in my fucking head from this hour-long video. Oh my god. Also, here's another part that made me laugh so hard. Like, nothing against her, but like, you can make a video like this and not expect you to be sued. Like, it sounds so bad.
Daniel created the perfect situation in which he could take advantage of me.
Yo, how can you say in the same breath that you want to accuse him of rape or sexual assault, but at the same time say that he made the perfect environment to take advantage of me? You deserve to be sued. I'm sorry. Also, please listen to this part about consent and tell me it doesn't sound fucking insane.
Second of all, consent can be retracted at any time. Anytime. And just because... True. But you can't retract consent fucking like a year or 2 years later. You just can't do that. Like, you made a video, calling him an assaulter because he broke your heart, and now in 2025, you're calling him an assaulter because he forced his tongue in your mouth, he tongue fucked you, and he came on your belly, on your awesome tattoos. Like, no, not at all. Like, the only way like this will look good for you is if if you told him no right then and there, both times. It might sound hard, but like, you stayed with him in Vegas for 2 days. You would have made it much more clear, but no, you fell for the bait every goddamn time. Me admitting to saying, I wish I had said no, I never know how to say no, that's not me admitting to consenting. I don't see how people see it that way.
I feel so fucking guilty because of what I did.
Oh god. She's watching the video of herself. She's watching the video that she made for Kayla and Daniel of her apologizing, for cheating with Daniel. Oh god.
Stand by that. That is not me admitting to it being consensual. The only thing I admit here is that I A, feel guilty, and that I B, wished that I had said no.
No, that's not the case. If you believe that, truly, show in your video, show a clip from that video you sent them where you said, Kayla, I'm sorry, but it was forced against me. Why don't you show it? Because it didn't happen.
He pushed me over and stuck his tongue in my mouth. I was halfway through a sentence. Like, a lot of people seem to think that me not saying no was me giving consent, and that is not true. A lot of people seem to think that me saying, I could do that, halfway through a sentence is consent, but that is not true. Could is a maybe.
Also,
could is a
to paint a clear picture, they were both in the same bed in a hotel room while she was naked. She said, she wanted to sleep naked, she found it more comfortable, but like, how can you see this, or have this picture in your mind and believe it's just friends? Like, no. Also, bro, I want to say now as well, she's such a bizarre sugar baby. Okay, that sounds really bad. For one, she needs lube, to get it on, not bad, a bit weird, but not bad. But also, she will make a video apologizing to the fiancés, to the girlfriend of the people she fucks. Honey, you were not meant for this job at all.
In regards to the fact that because I am bisexual and in a hetero relationship with Kayla, she has told me it's okay for me to seek sexual.
Never roll your eyes. It never looks good.
Daniel was the one that said that. He was the one that brought that up. He was the one that told me, because when he was being so fucking pushy, I was like, you are in a relationship. You are in a monogamous relationship. And he told me, no, Kayla told me because I'm bi. She said I'm allowed to explore. I'm allowed to explore with men and non-binary people. I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, Daniel, you know damn well Kayla would not consider this non-binary.
Okay, yeah, that's probably one weird point he made in that video. That's it. But like, she has so much more stacked against her.
I wish I could take it all back. I wish I could take it all fucking back. It was not worth losing what we had.
Me saying I could take it all back is not me admitting to consenting. When I say it was not worth losing what we had, I meant as...
I hate this shit so much. Like, it just sounds like someone being like, no, that's not what happened. When in reality, if you watch both her videos, part 2, it sounds like a lot, but you know, if you do all of that, it just sounds like someone being like, no, it didn't happen. When in reality, yeah, that is what happened. Why are you like trying to, you know, change the story when those videos show your exact mindset at the time and you had no qualm with it, you know, apart from the cheating part, but you had no issue with it because it wasn't assault. You agreed with it. Okay, just speed up now because, you know, we have a lot of clips to go through. One part she does do good on is apologizing to Kayla because she would not stop, like, you know, annoying her, being like, Kayla, I'm so sorry for fucking your boyfriend. Yeah, I fucked your boyfriend. I'm so sorry. She does, you know, give a sorry to her. That's good. But don't you see how the apology doesn't really help much? Because now you're trying to fucking destroy her fiance, Daniel. Like, it doesn't really help much at this point, does it? And then fast forward to 50 minutes, she talks about the conversation video again. Now, we'll say, I think maybe, like, you know, that video, she was right. It never described Daniel. However, from his perspective, you know, you would feel like fucking threatened, you know, seeing like a girl you had a sexual affair with, you know, a sugar baby, and now she's painting you as an assaulter. Maybe, you know, sending a cease and desist might be too much, but at the same time, now we know a clearer picture. Yeah, I understand 100% why he did that. Because then it will lead to this, where someone accuses you of sexual assault. That's why I can't blame him that much. Also, by the way, this part, she goes over her videos that was taken down. Part 1 she took down herself, like, I know that part, but she claims that part 2 was taken down by YouTube. Initially I was like, is that true? But now I'm seeing as well, it says terms of policies. I have no idea how, because in that video, she was somewhat graphic, but not so graphic that would make the video unwatchable for a small kid. It wouldn't be appropriate, but it wouldn't be, you know, unsuitable for YouTube. It wasn't that bad. So in my mind, still, I think a lawyer, you know, compelled her to take down the first video, but part 2, yeah, you know, I guess it was bad enough to be taken down by YouTube themselves. Also, she did apologize to people for going after Daniel's sponsors. Now, that was good, I will admit. I have no idea who in the right mind will go after his own sponsors. That's just really shitty. And also, she never advocated for that in her own video. So if you did that of your own volition, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. Okay, but you basically summarized the last quarter, because, you know, I'm gonna stop it right here. She admits that she has bipolar 1, so you've got that. And finally, around the 1 hour mark, she says sorry to Daniel. That's it. But even then, just like the smallest apology anyone could ever make.
And I just kept making it worse, and all I do is keep making it worse. I am so sorry to Kayla for all of this shit that I've put you through. And I'm sorry for Daniel. I didn't mean to accuse you of rape. I was just talking about how you pressured me into things that I didn't want.
Okay, you know, I still don't believe that part, pressure into things. But I guess, you know, despite that, she did say sorry. I mean, she said sorry, but after 1 hour in this video, and again, she put more emphasis on the victims, on sexual assault victims, more so than the poor bastard whose career was burned to the ground. I mean, you know, he still has a YouTube channel, he's doing alright, I guess, but like, holy fuck, the damage from this whole situation is just massive. That's all I know. Okay, finally, here we are to the outro of this video. I think this one might be longer than my usuals, but you know, like this video actually was so fucking insane. I feel like I had to go over it, like, you know, the funniest parts that I had to react to. It was so insane. Now I will say, you know, before I end this, is I have to give two things to Naomi, you know, credit. Number one, she did apologize somewhat to Daniel, and also as well, most people like her that, you know, believe like really bad stuff, they will keep the video up on the channel, you know, forever, indefinitely. However, with her, she did, you know, take down the worst videos, part 1 and part 2, so there you go. I think part 3, this one, was pretty egregious. As long as she took down the worst pieces about him, then fair enough, that's decent. I mean, you still made the videos, you know, you still twisted his narrative, but like, I guess you're trying to repair it at bare minimum. And also, by the way, the one time I wish I would have seen the dislikes in this video, we can't see it, but I know full well if I could, these 40 likes, it would be upset by the 1,000 dislikes. I know it already. And Naomi did say, you know, she wants to make this better, and in my opinion, if you really want to, then just stop making videos, because I think she has a legal battle with Daniel, so, you know, put more focus on that and stop making videos, because if you keep on going, you'll only make it worse, I promise you.